That was like right before lunch, right? And it's like, okay, Todd Blanche is finished with Michael Cohen as a witness, and I'm sitting there going, I have a spot in my notes for what you're going to say about the 130,000 on the worksheet. How can there not be a defense questions theory about the 130,000 on the worksheet?
I don't think there was any. I don't think they showed Exhibit 35 or 36 at all.
Yeah.
They also didn't do anything with so many of the meetings. The phone calls on the 26th, nothing substantive on that. The Oval Office, right, was just, there was so much that was just, you're like, okay, you're going with this.
No cross on the Oval Office?
Yeah, none.
Oh, bring that up when we get back on. I forgot about that.
The other thing, though, about the Redfinch thing is you're right. They talked about it on direct. They didn't use the word stealing. So the novelty of Todd Blanche is that he uses the word stealing, reinforces the reimbursement thing. But then he opens the door wide open on redirect for Susan to ask him, hey, what was that Redfinch payment all about anyway? And that's when he goes, basically says, well, this was yet another really shady thing I did at Donald Trump's direction and request.
To fudge a poll.
Oh, it was so funny.
It was just...
Can we come back to that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, talk about like this phony image. I mean, this is the National Enquirer redux, which is, the National Enquirer is going to do one phony image, which is like denigrating and promoting, and then we're going to pay a pollster to like change the poll. Change the algorithm. Wasn't that the
change the algorithm? But it's not even a political poll. It's like a CNBC poll about most successful businessmen of the last century.
His brand.
And the entire thing is just so cartoonishly underhanded when you have both the rigging of the polls and the way that he was paid for that in a small brown paper bag by Michael Cohen. I mean, it couldn't have been scripted.
And this is what you learn. $50,000 only gets you to number 9.
Yeah, he didn't even successfully rig it.
What would happen if they had paid the whole thing?
I really liked their strategic sense of not going for number 1. Because even Trump thought, that's not credible. If I get number 1, people are going to think I fixed the vote. Let's get me in the top 10. That's pretty good. Oh.
Well, the funny thing about so many Trump scandals is that they fade into memory. The Wall Street Journal broke that story years ago, and everyone forgets this whole about the Redfinch, rigging the online polls for Trump before he entered his candidacy.
Yeah. What Costello right now is on cross. By the way, speaking of contempt, after all that, he then, tells the DA to speak into the microphone. He then started, Costello's, and everyone, you could hear she was speaking into the microphone, but he decided he had to,
I'm not sure how well that played with women on the jury, and frankly, some men.
Are you kidding me? That speaking on the microphone thing was creepy.
Was so, like he sort of realized, I can't deal this. The judge is putting me in a place, so I'm not going to take it out on her.
Right.
And also imagine if Michael Cohen acted that way on the stand. Yeah. I mean, like, all of this behavior is from...
But you know what they're going to do tomorrow when Trump doesn't take the witness stand? They're going to blame it on the episode with Costello and say that this is an example of Judge Merchan being so out of control that he couldn't possibly testify.
And
but they already said he wasn't testifying before that ever happened. So they'll forever lie about that.
So your point about the court officers having the right to eject them is the right thing, but it also speaks to a larger frustration about the lack of access to documents in this case, because the New York court system is so archaic in how we can access what's going on. So, for example, there's no electronic docket where we can see court filings. We can't see the draft jury instructions. There is sort of a collective pent-up frustration on behalf of this press corps with how the New York court system in general operates, particularly in contrast to the federal system, which is remarkably transparent and open, that I think sort of burst out into the open today and maybe was misdirected at Merchan himself, as opposed to at the court system.
Or in contrast to, say, Florida or Georgia.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting what we did. I mean, I can sort of contrast it. What we did was, because the federal system isn't necessarily so much better, but we would get permission from the court that the moment an exhibit was entered, we would make it available to the press.
exhibits are not
Yeah.
even like the issue. The exhibits
right.
get posted at the end of the court day. I'm talking more like motion papers, decisions which went unposted for days on
we would
end.
do the same thing. Everything that was public
Yep.
would get posted.
Yeah.
So you could just we
Right,
would
because
have
it goes on
yeah.
Pacer.
Right.
But there is no Pacer
No,
equivalent.
our
in the
point is
Netherlands.
we would
Oh, do it yourself.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And they started, just for this case, creating a corner of the court administration website that has some of these papers. But to your point, Lisa, no, the web crim system lists some basic information about the case and not the filings. It's just because of massive public interest and press agitation for the documents that we're getting everything.
A system that's desperately in need of reform, and some enterprising New York State senator or representative should
Right.
take that on themselves.
Yeah,
Because this
and they-
case illustrates that the problem is not just the lack of cameras in the courtroom, it's the lack of public access writ large
Right.
to how the business of this court is being done.
And
By
it's
the way,
good.
so I have one other thing, which is, so Robert Costello said, I told Michael Cohen, basically the first meeting, so he doesn't know anything about the case, that you are not the subject of this case, which of course he was. He was actually the target, and there was not a case, there were two cases. But I said, this case will go away in 1 week if he essentially had the keys to the kingdom with respect to Trump. That is preposterous. So we know he actually did cooperate, and that did not happen.
Right.
So that advice, if it's to the extent he said it, which I strongly doubt he did, is like palpably ridiculous.
Right.
It's not what happened. It's not what the Southern District did. It's not what we did. We know, in fact, what happened, right? He cooperated, and he gave up information about Trump to both the Southern District and the special counsel. The reason the Southern District was not happy is because they wanted him to give up, not to withhold, is to his family. They said, it's everything or nothing. And it didn't go away in a week. He still had to plead guilty to a whole ton of things.
Right.
So it's like this Costello story. I mean, I'm dying to see how Susan deals with it. That doesn't make any sense other than, if it's true, a mechanism to find out. It's basically saying, tell me what you know, what you're going to say about
Right.
Donald Trump. I mean, that is...
Yeah, he's soliciting instantly Donald Trump info.
Tell me what you know.
What does he want to do with that?
30 seconds.
That is just a total. This is who my real client is, and this is why Michael Cohen totally got his number.